Well, everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite and see how this particular tablet holds up in 2025. Now, there's a lot of stuff to kind of think about within these types of older Samsung Galaxy tabs. In 2020, there were lots of different types of tablets that were out for the most part. And there are still, these tablets are still very good for the most part, right? I'm still a big fan of them. And if you're going to go through and pick up a tablet, there's still a lot of good ones out in the market. Now, is this one necessarily a perfect one? I'm not really 100% too sure of that, but we'll go and take a look at it throughout this whole entire video. And we'll basically see how this thing holds up. But if you do want to go ahead and pick up some tablets that I would personally recommend buying this year, links will be down in the description below. You can get that from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite. This tablet originally came out back in 2020. So that's kind of one of the first big things to keep in mind here. This was a tablet that came out, about 5 years ago, which is actually pretty insane, right? So it's a little bit of an older type of tablet. So that right there is going to be a pretty big thing to keep in mind there from that side. It's also not really going to necessarily be the best of the best type of tablet either, right? This thing wasn't supposed to be the most expensive, groundbreaking tablet when it first came out. It was just supposed to be a good, affordable tablet that a lot of people could go and kind of get their hands on. Now on the front side, this tablet is giving you a 10.4 inch TFT LCD panel. Now that right there is already going to be somewhat of a downside for this type of tablet. The reason for that is because this thing is already going to be showing its age by the time you go ahead and buy it. A TFT LCD panel is really kind of, out of this, out of the ordinary for the most part. And that is going to be somewhat of an older styling of a device and an older styling of a tablet when it comes down to it from that side. So I'm definitely going to tell you, if you're going to go through and pick up a tablet, you're definitely going to be getting somewhat of a older styling of a tablet when it comes down to it from that side. The panel itself is not really going to be that great. And I genuinely probably would feel pretty bad buying a tablet like this or even recommending a tablet like this, because it just genuinely just doesn't make any sense at all to go and buy a tablet like this, in my opinion. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there too for the most part. Now this tablet is giving you a pretty decent type of design because the bezel around it actually isn't too terrible. So you're actually able to go ahead and get a tablet that's going to be giving you a decent type of experience. It doesn't look terrible. It's a 60 hertz panel, but it doesn't look too bad on the front side, which was always something that was kind of surprising to me. Now, you are getting a microSD card slot inside of this type of device, which is really, really nice to have. As always, we love, USB Type-C. We love having displays and, devices with microSD card. So it's a really nice thing to basically have a tablet like this that's going to be giving you a microSD card when it kind of comes down to it from that side. So that right there, I would say, is another really nice advantage for this type of device when it comes down to it from that side as well. So in my personal opinion, this thing really gets a thumbs up for me from that particular situation as well. The rest of the build quality though, is kind of surprising because you are getting an aluminum back and an aluminum frame all throughout this type of tablet. So this tablet from that side, it actually does hold up fairly well from that particular perspective. So I do feel like going through and picking up a tablet like this is actually pretty decent. You're going to be getting a pretty okay feeling tablet, from that particular perspective, but it isn't really going to be that great or groundbreaking of a tablet when it comes down to it, because it is going to kind of be showing its age by the time you go through and kind of pick one of these things up. So depending on who you are, depending on how you want to go and buy this type of tablet, you're definitely going to be getting a tablet and a device that's without a doubt going to be showing its age. And that is probably going to be one of the biggest downsides, one of the biggest turnoffs of going through and buying a tablet, in this type of caliber. So in my personal opinion, if you're going to go through and pick up a device, this thing is definitely going to be showing its age from that side. Now, when it comes down to the price tag, this thing isn't really publicly available as it used to be. So the price tag of this thing isn't necessarily going to be the top of the top anymore. It's not going to be a great priced iPad. And I do feel like that might be another big turnoff here for a lot of people. If you're going to go through and pick up a tablet, this thing is going to be cheaper, which is going to be nice, but it's not really going to be one of those types of tablets where I would look at it and be yes, it's a good price, cheap iPad. This thing is not a good price, cheap iPad. It's definitely going to be showing its age quite a bit. And like I said, there's far better iPads out there for people to go and buy, or better tablets in general than this one. So from that side too, that kind of covers it up there a little bit as well. Now on top of that, another big important thing to keep in mind here too is the fact that within these types of tablets, you're going to have to remember that you're essentially going to go through and basically be buying a tablet on both, or on this one, where the camera really also is not that great. You're getting an 8 megapixel camera on the backside and then you're basically getting a 5 megapixel camera on the front side. So that right there is also going to be somewhat of like a downside there as well, because once again, if you're trying to go through and buy a device that's going to be giving you a better experience, you're probably not going to be getting a better experience from that particular side when it comes down to it. So from what I'm seeing there's probably way better options out there. And once again, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense to go through and buy these types of tablets when there's probably better ones out there for the most part from what we can see. So from that side too, that kind of covers it up there a little bit as well. Now, when it comes down to software updates, this tablet is already basically done getting software updates. So this thing isn't really going to be doing that great of a job when it comes down to that side. So that again is just one of those minor things to keep in mind. It's either a minor thing for you, or it could be like a big thing for you too. But within these types of tablets, these things really aren't going to be giving you that great of an experience. So again, from that side, you're kind of stuck in the spot where the software experience really is not going to be that great. So it just doesn't really make a lot of sense to go and buy it from that side either. And it's also giving you a 7,040 mAh battery, which for a device like this is actually pretty impressive. So I do feel like going through and buying a tablet like this is going to be giving you like an okay type of experience. And I feel like from that side, you're actually getting like a pretty good performing type of tablet when it comes down to the battery department. But when it comes down to maybe some other departments, for example, like when it comes down to the performance of these tablets, it's just not really going to be that great of a performing tablet anymore. And that is essentially, again, one of those types of problems that you're going to run into. When you're going through and buying a tablet, like a Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite, this thing is giving you the Exynos chipset inside with basically like 4 gigabytes of RAM. That's just not really that great of a performing, tablet when it comes down to that side. There are far better options out there for you to go ahead and buy. And with this thing, you're going to be basically getting into like a very limited type of an experience for the most part. So with this type of device, you're basically stuck there getting like a outdated type of chipset, a low amount of RAM. And when I look at it from that side, it just genuinely just doesn't really make a lot of sense for me to recommend these types of tablets to people, because there's just way better options out there. So what I definitely will tell you from what I can see, these types of tablets, they're really like, they had their place, right? They used to be like good type of tablets, I would say, for some people to go and buy, but they just genuinely just don't make a lot of sense to, buy anymore. There's so many better options out there. And, when I look at a Tab S6 Lite, I just kind of think to myself like, wow, there's like way better tablets out there for you to go and buy. And for these ones, it just genuinely just doesn't make a lot of sense anymore. So when I do look at tablets that I would recommend people to buy, I would recommend people to buy something like a Tab, S7 they would like. I think a Tab S7 is like a pretty good option. I think a Tab S8, if you can buy one in the used market for a little bit cheaper, I think that would also be very, very solid. I think even like an iPad 9th generation or iPad 10th generation would be nice. Those types of tablets I think would probably be better for the most part. This thing, for the most part, from what I can see, it just doesn't make any sense at all to buy. There's so many better options out there, and if I'm going to go through and like recommend a tablet to people, it probably would not be this type of tablet anymore. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.